Hello. Once again, I come before you as a representative of the Illuminati. You may call me the Man. Well, as I'm sure most of you know, over the weekend there was a little bit of a financial crisis down there in Cyprus. The people of Cyprus, well, they weren't very happy. Now, of course, Cyprus is a very small place, but it got sucked into this whole global financial meltdown because it held a lot of Greece's debt. And yeah, when the EU came in and kind of devalued that debt, suddenly the people of Cyprus and their banks held a lot less money than they thought they were going to get, and that led to a financial meltdown of their own. However, over the weekend, the people who are in charge of the European Union and the IMF stepped in and said, you know what, as part of this bailout deal that we're going to help you out with, you're going to need to put a one-time only tax on everyone who has deposits in your banks. Everyone. And that tax could reach almost up to 10%. So suddenly the people in Cyprus who had money in the bank didn't have as much money in the bank as they thought. And so they didn't like that. And they revolted against that. And I understand now, it's not the first time the Europeans have tried this, right? Up there in Iceland, they tried it, and they didn't go against for their domestic guys. They went for the foreign investors, and basically those people couldn't really do anything about it. They shake their fists and stuff. No, they had more sense than to go after the domestic deposits. But yeah, somehow the European Union thought that it was a good idea to maybe cause a run on banks in Cyprus, so it would take the pressure off of other places, and there wouldn't be a run on banks. Well, the legislature of Cyprus did something that was unusually smart. Those politicians listened to their people. Their people were not happy, so they turned that deal down. They understood that, if you have a populace that makes deposits in a bank, and then you go in willy-nilly and take some of that money, those people are not going to make those deposits in that bank anymore. And since this affected all the banks in Cyprus, what would you do if everybody took their money out of every bank? Well, all the banks would go out of business, of course. And, the bailout wouldn't do much good. So, yeah, they decided that was a bad idea. And other people across Europe were kind of eyeing this too. What if you're in Spain? Because they're in debt. I mean, how about Ireland? Do you withdraw your money now from the banks before they have a chance to make a similar deal? So, yeah, they did the right thing. They listened to their people and they said no. Now, of course, this leaves several consequences, and I'm sorry. What? The White House? Oh, excuse me a second. Give it to me. There's a message from the White House. This is not important. Tell the White House that if the President of the United States does not want an actor that resembles him to play Satan in the Bible miniseries, then maybe Hugh should have gotten better seats to the inauguration, because you know how vengeful he gets. He was back in the 16th row, so he couldn't wave at the camera, nobody saw it. That's not important. I'm doing a video, okay? All right. I'm sorry, my staff, Mr. Johnson again has interrupted train of thought. What was it? Cyprus. Yes. So the legislature decided no deal, and it leads to several consequences. Hopefully they'll be able to get some bailout money from Russia. The Russians aren't really too happy with the whole European Union idea anyway, so I'm sure they'll step in and kind of put a thumb in the face there. Besides, there are a whole lot of Russian depositors there in Cyprus. They really like to use the Cyprus banks to kind of hold their money for them. And so, yeah, it's a great example of what happens when the people get kind of ticked off, They rise up, they let their voices be heard, and the people who think they're in charge are reminded that the only reason they are able to govern is the consent of the governed. That's why we did the American experiment. That's what the basis of this whole nation was, and to see if a nation so conceived and so dedicated could long endure. And, over 200 years of... What? Excuse me. This is not... Because I'm doing a video, obviously, he thinks that maybe it's video related. Tell Elysia Fields that we will get her a passport. We're working with the Queen right now. We'll get her a passport to one of the 3 of the 4 populated outer dimensions, and we're trying to overcome those problems, okay? She's got to get back into a 3-dimensional body when she's done visiting there, and she won't be able to hold the memories of what's going on there because the human mind really can't comprehend what was going on in the first. You know what? Tell her that she's already been to one of the 3 populated outer dimensions, and she just doesn't remember it. Okay, and have Laney give her one of those little glow balls that didn't require battery, but we were going to make them in the '80s when the Starman movie came out. Yeah, have give him one of those, and that'll look like something's from another dimension, and then she'll have that as a souvenir. Okay, all right, good. Now, no more interruptions unless it's really important. Okay. Consent of the governed. Yes, so that's the basis for government throughout the world. It hasn't been for all time, but you know, it's really starting to catch on. And people are pushing back against people who are thinking they're in charge because they're just, you know, supposed to be in charge, or they were elected by a certain small group of people, so they only have to govern those small people. You know, they don't have to worry about the others. They just have to ignore those 47% or whatever. They think it's not going to vote for them, and just, you know, cater to their clientele. No, they're supposed to govern everybody. When they can't do that, of course, you get rid of them. If they don't listen, vote them out. But let them know where you stand. That's what you're supposed to do. And that's part of a What? Oh, well, this is important. Apparently Syria is burning. There are chemical weapons being used. I have to go and try to keep what's going on in Syria from igniting a war that spreads throughout the entire world. So, yeah, yeah. If I was a conspiracy theorist, I would think that people were trying to undo something that, you know, the very systems that we in the Illuminati have put into place to kind of stabilize the entire world. It seems like there's an awful lot happening all at one time. Like, there's some sort of anti-Illuminati or something. We did let a lot of people go when we built the really big computer a couple of decades ago. A couple of decades would be just about the right time to plant those seeds. I need to make some phone calls. So, yeah, if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section below. And remember that when you see those chemtrails blazing up there in the sky, I wouldn't worry about them. I just relax and breathe deeply. And I need a phone. I got to call that guy. Yeah, that one. I need.